So today we're going to look at doing a plain seam. Now this is the most common seam you'll ever do. And just a reminder that a seam is when you join two pieces of fabric together, and it's usually at the side, or it could be at the shoulder, or it could be at the crotch, or it could be in a few other places as well. So what you'll need is two long pieces of fabric, roughly the same size, and you're going to put the two right sides together. So these are our right sides, that's our wrong side. So you're going to have your two right sides facing like that. Now when we do our samples, I'll teach you how to do it without pinning. Now the reason for that is pinning actually takes up a lot of time. And there are ways we can do things using the machine and the resources in the classroom that we have, which will allow us to get things done a bit quicker. So at your machine, you need to set it to straight stitch, which is stitch number 13, width 0, length 2.5. And when we do our seams, we always have 1 centimetre seam allowance with our pattern making. So 1 centimetre is actually this line here. Now most of you will probably have a line down here as well. This particular machine doesn't have that though on the bobbin housing cover, but this is the line we're going to line up our raw edge with. Okay, so with our raw edges lined up, all you need to do is pop it under your presser foot so it lines up with that line. Should probably make sure my machine's actually switched on. Do a little reverse stitch, and all you're going to do is keep your fabric together. Make sure it's lined up, and keep watching that line there on your needle plate, and you just keep your fabric lined up with that line. What I usually do is I will pinch the end together lined up, and I can pull the piece underneath if it's not lined up, and then hold it nice and taut. Finish with a reverse stitch, pop your take up lever up the top and take your work out. Okay, so that's nice and even, and now I'm going to overlock that raw edge. Okay, so I'm at my overlocker, and I'm going to overlock my raw edge here. And there's a couple things to remember when using the overlocker. You always need a nice long tail. So when you stop and start, make sure there's a nice long tail. Now lifting up the presser foot, I can put my work underneath, and I'm lining up my raw edge with 2 points. So either this line here or the cutting blade. Now when we overlock, we use it just to finish the edge so it doesn't fray. It's not for cutting. If we were to cut every time we overlocked, we would have to replace this blade quite often. You can trim a little bit off. Maybe your cutting's not exactly straight. You might want to trim a teeny tiny bit off, but you shouldn't be cutting anything off. So when you're overlocking, you just want to keep it lined up with those two things. And you just gently apply pressure to the presser foot and let it pull your fabric through. Don't grip it or anything. You can see here I've trimmed a teeny tiny bit of fraying off, and that's fine. Once you get to the end, keep going, leave a nice long tail, and then trim it with the thread cutter. Okay, so there's my overlocked edge. And that is the plain seam with overlocked edge. Now that finish is suitable for any type of garment.